Good evening, Tom No Wetner here, the conversationalist. We're going to have a heart to heart talk. We're going to be a little bit inappropriate, and we sure as hell going to rattle the trees. So, like, subscribe, comment, share this, please. This is important. Do yourself a favor, suspend all your preconceived ideas, and for once, understand that you have dodged a bullet, a big bullet, as the American people. Let's get into it. It's been a bad day today, right? Good day that they found this guy, but why did they find him 5 days later in a McDonald's eating food with the gun still in his possession? Seems a little hinky to you? Sounds like a little hinky to me. This guy planned everything out to the T, acted like a doofus, shot like a tier one shooter, escaped like he was James Bond, been on the run, nobody could find him, and he's found in a McDonald's by some employee who thought he remembered him from someplace else. Come on, if you believe that, there's a movie called Wizard of the Oz, and guess what? You're in it. All right, let me release my anger and my total total disgust for the people in this country that think they can take over not only our country but the world. And don't give me anything about deep state. Yeah, state. I don't want to hear about the deep state. There is no deep state. What there is millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires. There are people that own oil companies and banks and pharmaceutical companies, and they want to control the entire world. It's that simple. If you don't get it, I'm sorry. But right now is the time for us to speak out. It is the time for us to all say to the broadcast media, you're a bunch of lying hypocrites. You're in controlled by Hillary Clinton, the WHO, and all these other organizations that are for the greater good of people of the world. As soon as you hear that the organization is doing something for people all over the world, run. Now let's get into the minutia of today. Today, a guy who pulled off a stunt is eerily similar to the shooter that shot President Trump in the ear. This guy is a nobody. You're going to find out he's a nobody. Look at his Facebook page. I did. Well educated, good family, a little bit on the weird side, just like the shooter was. Somebody took him up. He was identified from some algorithm, and the guys in black picked him up, gave him just enough training to get him killed. You understand what that means? Means he was trained to shoot Trump, and he was trained to make a headshot. And he was also given the time on that roof to set up and take the shot. If you think that there's any other scenario going on with that, you're wrong. This was purposely done, and it was done through the black agency, CIA, the black agency in the FBI, the black agency in the DOT, and DOJ, and in the Defense Department, along with all those billionaires overseas who think that they are going to take over America. It's again the second shooter, a nobody, given a gun that he could never afford, given the training just enough to get him to do the job. Should have trained him better in concealment. If you put a black muzzle against a green background with a chain link fence, you can spot it. Believe me, I've done it. You, the American people, need to stand up and say enough is enough. They tried to take Trump out twice. Where is all the broadcast media about the first shooter and the second shooter? How many articles? How many follow up stories? What do we know about these people? Nothing. You know why? Because they disappeared. Because someone told the mainstream media, don't even bother about this. Nothing here to see. Move on. Scary. Go back in your little brains. Take the crayon and put it on the wall. The last time you heard anything about those two shooters, it was like 2 days after they shot, and then they disappeared. And God forbid if somebody brought up their background and made it seem like, how the hell did these two guys get together and plan the same thing almost exactly and try to take out the same guy? Come on. Coincidence? No, I don't think so. Random? Absolutely not. I think that this is not the deep state, the black arts, the rebel rousers, the guy in the corner blowing bubbles in his cafe au lait. No, this is a organized group that pick up these people who are vulnerable and put them on a road in hopes that they do what these people want them to do. Do you know how close that kid from the top of a roof, 400 yards away, almost took out Trump? He hit him in the ear, for Christ's sake. He needed more time on the range. They should have gave him another day on the range. If they wanted the job done right, give him another day on the range. It would have been successful. We wouldn't have Trump right now. If they wrapped the second man's gun with a little burlap, we would not have Trump here today. You know why? Because it would be enough concealment for him to take a shot, maybe two, before the Secret Service returned fire. Let that sink in, because I've been ruminating on it ever since the news broke that they picked this guy up. All right, let's talk about this Italian kid. I perused his uh, streaming services that he's on. I looked at him. This kid was an overeducated, overindulged, fantastic looking guy with the whole world ahead of him. And you're telling me that because of something that happened to him or his family or an extended relative, he planned a 5-day trip up to New York City. He planned it so well that it looked like he came from Atlanta, Georgia, but he lives in Pennsylvania. He went to Princeton. That's not an easy school to get into. The background check is terrible. It's like getting into the FBI. Do you understand that this man supposedly planned this out completely by himself? And he planned it on two levels. One, to kill the other gentleman, which he did, and then to look like he's just some average doofus with a gun. But contradictions. He had an absolute great escape plan. I've never seen an escape plan executed better than that. You know why? He didn't get caught. He got out of the city. And this stuff about him going to the bus station and getting on buses, just more bullshit. He probably had his own car there or somebody else's car, or somebody picked him up. I don't want you to even, when they say this stuff, don't take it for verbatim. Don't just think that they're the talking heads with the most knowledge. They're bullshitting you. They're spinning a fucking story. And I know I owe the curse jar a lot of money, but this is the type of video that I'm going to probably just throw a 50 in. But I digress. Ladies, gentlemen, and whoever else is watching, this guy, this, for no better way to describe him, young man, had his whole life ahead of him. I wish I looked like this guy when I was his age. Did you see the pictures he put on online? This guy is a 10 out of 10. Muscular, good looking, great smile, highly educated. You're going to tell me he threw his whole life away to kill some president of some insurance company that have been ripping people off since the insurance industry was made? I mean, let's face it, the insurance agencies and policyholders and all of them are there for one reason: taking as much money as they can and pay out as little as they can. Believe me, I know, because the last 13 years I've been dealing with nothing but insurance companies. And I know how they sneak around and code things wrong, and they reject 100 people and only 10 appeal it, and then they reject those 10 and then only one person appeals, and they only have to pay for one CAT scan or one MRI or one blood work. You see what I mean? It's a scam. The insurance industry is a scam. If I had put all the money that I paid into property insurance, car insurance in the bank, I would have more than enough money to replace everything that I own. And I would have had all the interest on top of it. I should have went self-insured. I had an opportunity to do that when I was a young man. I didn't do it. How terrible was that? Think about looking back and bad decisions, right? Oh well. Now I want you to know that we're sponsored by Mom. Okay. If you don't notice, I'm highly caffeinated right now. I've been up. Usually I take my nappy in the afternoon, but unfortunately I didn't get it today because everybody's been calling, texting, asking my opinion on the things. That's one of my side jobs. I'm going to take a minute to get my composure back. About 13 minutes into this thing. So I want to talk about St. Jude. I want you to like and subscribe on this holiday season. They take care of children no matter what their disease is. They will absolutely not turn anyone away. Your donation goes to taking care of children and their family. Please support them, like, subscribe, send a donation in. Thank you. I appreciate it. But to get back to the topic, when children are small, some parents introduce them to the boogeyman. Oh, don't do that. The boogeyman will get you. Oh, don't go down those basement steps. That's where we keep the boogeyman. So with this deep state nonsense, we got a worldwide boogeyman. Got it? Everybody's afraid of the deep state because they're going to take over the world. And at one time, I thought they could do it. All you got to do is digitize the monetary system, and you have everybody by the ass. Another dollar. You have to be smarter than that. You are Americans. You notice I said you are Americans. Now, I'm not talking about anything but being an American. If you live in America, if you're a citizen of America, if you vote every time there's a possibility to vote somebody in or vote somebody out, you are an American. Stand up. Get off your knees. Tell these politicians this is enough. We, the American people, voted for Donald Trump. And for the next 4 years, whether you supported him by voting for him or you didn't, he's our president. Get behind him. If you can't support him, don't stand in his way. In 4 years, you can have your say again and bring in another Biden so we can have 4 more years of this crap. So we have 3 incidents now, right? We have 2 directed at Trump, and we have one that is so sensational that the rest of the world, the news of the world, what's going on in the world doesn't matter because we're all running around trying to figure out who did this, how they do it, where they go, what they did, what's their background, what's their social media statement. Do you understand? Every time something important is going on, they do something sensational over here because over here is the real thing they're getting away with. So I'm going to give you a list. So get your crayon and get your wall and start writing this down. Right now, within a 200-mile perimeter of Washington, D.C., every criminal defense attorney is under retainer. Around every home and office of every senator, congressman, head of an agency, bureaucrats that have been there more than 20 years have hired criminal attorneys, not negotiating attorneys to get out on their pensions or their big ticket items or whatever. No, I'm talking about criminal attorneys. Right now, Pennsylvania Mike has told me that he has so many calls for representation and he's retired. Let me say that again. He's been retired for 8 years. His phone's ringing off the hook. Great, great attorney. In his day, his dad was a better attorney. Sorry, Mike, but you're a good attorney. Kept me out of jail. Anyway, another story, right? If I have a group of people, right, all functioning at the same level, senators, congressmen, congresswomen, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all these guys that have been filling their pockets for the last 40 years, since the middle of the 1980s, when the professional politicians came into office. Before that, everybody was part timers, guys that spent a lot of time in their office in their district, figuring out what the people needed. In the 80s, we decided we're going to have professional politicians, lobbyists, PACs, big money, big advertisements. You're going for a job that makes X number of dollars a year, and you're spending 1,000 times to get that job. You understand that? 1,000 times what you're going to get paid in a year, you're paying to get that job. Does that tell you something? You better wake up, America. The handwriting is on the wall. I'm getting to the point where I'm feeling like I'm yelling into the wind. Wise up. I see all these on the street interviews. Don't go on air if you don't know what you're talking about, because you just make the problem muddier and you do exactly what they want. You make it sensational. This man on the street thing they're doing all over the country, reactions, is just to keep it on the front page, as we used to say in newspapers. Lead story if you're a broadcast media. Do you understand how important it is at this time in America that all Americans stand together? If there's any time that you have ever doubted that there was one thing that was going to bring all Americans together again, this is it. This is your moment to shine, right? Don't be out there protesting on some irrelevant bullshit. Don't be out there shoplifting for Christmas. Don't be out there on the left screaming about things that don't matter, because it's over. Your time is done. There's importance here, importance for the whole country, but mostly importance for your children and your grandchildren. I have children, I have grandchildren. You understand? 73 years I've been American. I raise the flag every morning and take it down every night. I know what it is to lose. I know what it is to win. I know when somebody's bullshitting me. And I know when somebody is tugging me along just to get me to move in a certain direction. And I know when somebody is out there distracting me from something else. And that's what's happening. These two assassination attempts, this murder of this gentleman. I don't care what you think about it. Maybe he needed to die. I don't know. Is that the catalyst that's going to change the insurance companies? You kill one man on the streets of New York going to a convention, and you put a picture up of his wife and children crying, and you think that's going to stop anything? You're mistaken. And the next thing that comes up to get your mind off of what they're really doing is going to be even more horrendous. Function. When they want to get over on the American people, they do something sensational over here. Meanwhile, they're manipulating everything over here. It's a very simple premise. I seem frustrated because I am. The number of conversations I've had today, both on the air and off the air, I'm surprised at the number of people who can't fathom this. That there'd be a group of people that want to take over the world. That's why they're taking over the world, because of you people. Because you can't fathom that. Didn't you guys watch James Bond movies growing up? Did you not read books about conspiracies and things that the dark shadows of the night came up with? Do you not read detective novels and see how intricate murder can be? Or do you just watch Law and Order? That's the same 12 situations in different locations with different characters. we, the American people, are the only ones that are going to stop this when we say enough is enough. How do you say enough is enough? Well, I'm going to tell you. But let's first go to aortic hope. This is a group of survivors of aortic disease. Wonderful people. Karen put on a show today, made me laugh the whole show. That's what I needed. I needed somebody to make me laugh today because this is a bad day. Good people doing good things. People helping other people rebuild their lives. Let me say it just one more time for everybody in the back of the room, all you Fs. These are people who survived aortic dissections, aneurysms, root explosions, valve deterioration, kidney stents, and femoral stents, and here to live about it, talk about it. And they're living every day. No, are they living the life they had before? No, they're not. But aortic hope, Karen and her minions every day get on this box and say, we can help. What's your problem? Oh, this is what we know. This is who you should go see, and get back to us and we'll see if we can do something else for you. That's what America was all about. That was your neighbors. You didn't go, if you saw your congressman or your senator or something, it was because he was in his office and he probably had a keg of beer and your father was there sucking down Pabst Blue Ribbon. I remember sitting on the keg. They put a board across it and I sat on it. And I would get to pull the handle. Of course, they had that interchange, that discussion, that ability to talk to your representatives directly. Do you know if you wanted to talk to your representative now, and unless you had a big donation to them or you had some inside track, you can't get in to see your representative, senator, or congressman? Do you know the bureaucracy now? Not only do they keep their own stats and publish the ones they want to, but you have to request to get in their building in advance so they can do a background check before you get even to talk to the lowest echelon. If you want a face to face, you see how that works? They've isolated themselves. They're a power unto themselves. Hillary Clinton was nobody before her husband got elected. She is a moving power in itself. This woman is connected to more murders than Al Capone. More people have died around this woman than Al Capone ever killed in his whole career. Yet nobody says anything. Reverend Sharpton owes about $42 billion in taxes. Nobody goes after him. Chuck Schumer from my state lives like a king. Nancy Pelosi has more homes and more money with her husband and lives in beautiful mansions and has a beautiful home in her district, but that she never goes there because her district is a slum. Homeless people everywhere, murders every night. That's the district that Nancy Pelosi represents. And she keeps getting reelected. Why? Because nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. And every year she's there, she's got her hands and fists in everything. She's digging with both hands. Guess what? It's over. I got to tell you, Elon Musk and Schwami and Cash and Trump, they're a lot nicer than I would be because they're telling them just pack your shit and get out. Me, I'd say report to the federal prison nearest to you in 24 hours or we're going to come get you. Let me repeat that for everybody in the back of the room that's taking a nap. I would tell everybody, every politician, every bureaucrat, every upper management and middle management, if you are doing wrong, drag your butt to the nearest prison, federal prison, and surrender. It will help you in your case. I want to know who's behind this kid that shot Trump in the ear because he didn't do it on his own. Look at this kid's background. Come on, he's a high school kid. He had some days on the range with a 22. All of a sudden, he's got a gun that's worth $3,500. He gets onto a roof in the interior of the Secret Service's security zone. We got a guy on the side of the road that's going to shoot from a chain link fence. You can't make this shit up. Somebody picked these people out because they were vulnerable and put this all together. Same thing with this shooting in New York. This guy does not fit any of the criteria. In fact, he, other than being easily manipulated, looks like an outstanding young man who basically I would never take. He'd pass through my security perimeter with no problem. I'm telling you. Good looking Italian boy, as my mother would say. Never about me, though. My brother was a good looking Italian boy. That's another story. And this kid's going to disappear. We're going to have 2 or 3 days of coverage, and then all of a sudden, nobody's going to hear from this kid again, just like the other two. We don't know where the other two are. We don't know who's talked to them. We don't know what they found out. And same thing with this third one. It's turmoil. All they want is turmoil. They can't do the black and white thing anymore because everybody's onto them. Even Black Lives Matter is onto them. So they're going for more extreme turmoil. Look at what's happening in the insurance industry. No more press releases. Video conferences only. High security. Have they changed the way they do business? I'm asking a question. Maybe I'm the stupidest person on earth. Has the insurance companies announced anything about changing the way they do business? Because if they did, I missed it. If somebody sent me a link. In America right now, you have more of a chance of dying because of what wasn't allowed as opposed to what is allowed. Even with all the mistakes of if you go in and you're having a aortic dissection or aneurysm and they treat you for a heart attack and kill you. Even if you bring those numbers in, which are huge, you don't make up to the point of the number of people that insurance companies kill. You understand that? It's important that you understand the basics of this situation. I'm not talking about what the media is putting out there. Might as well turn off your TV sets from 6 to or 5:30 or 5 o'clock to 7 when the talking heads go off. Or go watch The Wizard of Oz or one of those movies because you'll get more out of it than watching the news. The news is so embedded with all these politicians that you can click on any station and get it. If you want the right wing, go Fox. If you want the extreme left, go to CNN. You want to go to the middle of the road, go to CBS, but they're also on the left. You understand? There's nobody out there just is objectively giving you both sides of the story. Everything's with a twist and a turn. So you can't rely on them. If you're relying on broadcast news for your news, you're in trouble. For me, I learned that late in life. Remember, I'm a Walter Cronkite baby. I remember yelling at the TV because Roger Mudd came on from 7 to 7:05, and that was way too long for me to have to sit there while Roger Mudd gave me 5 minutes of news before my next show came on. So that's where I come from. I come from a generation that is so far off, we practically don't even exist anymore. We don't exist in marketing. We don't exist in fashion. We don't exist in uh, priorities of culture. Why? Well, it's a contradiction. One hand says, well, we don't spend money. On the other hand, they say,
Well, we almost had him back. Let's give him just a few minutes and see if his network normalizes. I got an image. You're almost ready?
I'm here.
All right,
Sorry
and
about that.
you're
We have a heavy
back.
storm up here in upstate New York. We are we are getting our coating of rain on top of our snow, which is going to turn to ice, and we're getting more snow tonight. Is living in upstate New York. Plus, our infrastructure sucks. But Elon, my man, Starlink, 2 days. I bought one of your walls just to back up Starlink. It isn't even going to run a refrigerator or anything. It's going to run your Starlink. I can run a whole house on this wall. It's going to be dedicated to Starlink. Why? Why do certain people get everything in this country and certain areas get nothing? We're dealing with 40, 30-year-old coax cable out here. Not even fiber optic, just coax. All the joints have been out there 30, 40 years in the rain, snow. And we get a shitload of snow up here. Guess you guys haven't watching the weather, but in central New York and western New York, yeah, the almanac said it was going to be a dry, cold winter. They got it wrong. Kind of like the vet who told me my dog was only going to be 60 pounds and he's 87.4 right now. But that's another story. Right, Coop? We're 40 minutes into this. Let's talk about PAD, peripheral artery disease. As you get older, this is something that you have to track. If you have diabetes, you have to track it. For many years, the only way to fix that problem was cut things off your body. They started at your toes and they finished up when they got to your hip. I remember an uncle of mine, I can't even, for the life of me, I can't remember his name now. I got to go look at the photo book and take the photos out and flip them over because my mother used to write everybody's name and date on the back of the photos. I can't remember his name. That's a shame. But I remember him sitting in the chair. He actually fought in both world wars. Ralph. His name was Ralph. I remember. See? I'm old. I got a memory like Swiss cheese, but every once in a while, something drifts through the holes. Fought in World War One, the last year of World War One, and he fought in World War Two. If they didn't cut his leg off, he probably would have fought in the Korean War. He was an amazing guy. They piecemealed him out until he had 1.5 legs. We don't do that now. We fix the problem now. We have these wires that we can send through and expand and control, and balloons, and the other things that we're talking about, where the oxygen therapy, where they'll actually take something that's necrotic, rotting away, and rejuvenate it. You understand, the world has changed. That's a change for the good. PAD, peripheral artery disease. Google them. Like and subscribe. Go over there and give Kim a shout and tell him that the old man sent you. It's important. If you don't keep up on this stuff, and you or a loved one or a friend, and they're saying, well, the only thing we can do is chop your toes off, find someone in the PAD community, and you can contact him on the way to the heart, and she will direct you to somebody in your area. Get a second opinion. Okay. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Benny. He has diabetes out of control because he doesn't believe in anything. All right, so let's get back on the subject, because we want, we've got about 18 minutes. I want to clean this up, and I want to, end on a good note. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else in the world, like, subscribe, comment, share. Please share this. It's important. If you're American, notice I said if you're an American. I didn't put anything in front of it or behind it. An American, because you're all Americans. I don't care if you came to this country 100 years ago or 10 years ago or 1 year ago. If you're in this country illegally, you're an American, or you want to be an American. Act like it. Don't let these people manipulate you, either by word or deed. Let me say that again. You guys in the back, wake up. By word or deed. Be skeptical of everything. Stand by President Trump and his crew for the next 4 years, whether you like it or not. And if you can't do that, get out of the way. Wait your 4 years and then deal with it at that time. But for right now, for the good of the country, every American needs to stand up and say, we don't accept this anymore. We are going to be better. We are going to do better. 01/01/2025. On that date, every American is going to say to all these people, Hillary, I'm talking to you, enough is enough. I cannot wait. I cannot wait until President Trump brings her in cuffs for Benghazi. I knew 2 people in Benghazi. They didn't deserve to die like that. Look, I'm shaking. Your cook, who was an excellent swimmer, collegiate swimmer, didn't need to die in the bay because he overheard something in your kitchen. A double tap suicide is not suicide. You guys remember all this stuff about Hillary? If you don't, I can give you a list. I've kept a list. How many people that she's done away with. And if you don't think that there's other people in this minutia of, I don't even want to call them criminals. They wouldn't even make a criminal's ass, a pimple on the criminal's ass. What they are just vicious, vicious killers. And they have the money and the wherefore to hire the people to get it done. We need to stand up and say enough is enough. Do not make another attempt on President Trump or any of his people. For if you do, the weight of the American people, not the government, not the FBI or the CIA or the Department of Justice, they're all crap. The people will not stand for it. You want a second revolution in this country? That's the way to do it. I guarantee you, I, for one, I will drop everything and personally make your life miserable if something happens to Trump or one of his people. Be forewarned. Maybe I'm just an old fat guy in upstate New York, but you trained me. My information, my ability, although not physical anymore, just the mind, I come up with the scenarios, both good and bad. I'm the guy who looks at your plan and says, there's millions of us in this country with special skills, and we don't believe in you. You have a number of people with special skills that you call upon to do this crap, to almost kill a president of the United States. And then turn around, try it a second time. Using puppets. Do you think you could get away with that? You did that in South America in the 70s. Pinochet, remember? I was there. I'm 73 years old. I'm not talking about some book I read, some movie I watched. You have perfected this, and you did it overseas, and you tried to topple governments. You couldn't do it. You tried to manipulate every situation. You couldn't do it. And now you brought it back to the United States, and you're trying to manipulate the American people by terror. Let me say it again. You can't terrorize the American people. We got your number. It is important. I'm putting it on the line here. This is, I swore I'd never do anything like this. 73 years, I kept my mouth shut, my back against the wall, and lived a good life. But this is so important to me, so instrumental in the saving of America. Let me say that again. If Donald Trump is assassinated between now and whenever, I mean, Inauguration Day, his birthday, next Christmas, whenever, the American people will take retribution in the harshest, most terrible means I can imagine. I don't want to hear this crap about F-18s and Abrams tanks. They're all pieces of shit. Not only do we know how to disable them, but 90% of the people in the cockpit or in the tank are not going to fight to the Americans. You understand that? The only person that the guns and the planes are going to be pointed at is you. Now, I hate to say this, but if we took Washington, D.C. proper off the face of the earth, I don't think America would be any worse for wear. Right now, I'm to the point where I am so angry that they're going to let him off the hook. And Elon's talking about giving him 2 years severance pay. 2 years severance pay for stealing for 20 or 30 years. I love cash. On the first day, I'm closing it down. Everybody's getting out of the Hoover building. On the second day, I'm going to make it a museum to the deep state. Look it up. That's what he said. First day, I'm closing it down, sending everybody across the country. Your FBI agents are technically cops. Get out in the country and find the criminals. That's what he said. On the second day, he says he's going to reopen the building as a museum to the deep state, the corruption. Because remember who put the FBI together? Hoover. Hoover, who persecuted everybody, including gays, and he was gay. Had dossiers on everybody that mattered in the United States: celebrities, politicians, bankers, money market funds, guys that own the trains and the planes. This is the guy who set up this FBI. It's inbred in the culture. If we fired 80% of the FBI, we'd still have no problem catching criminals. 7,000 people go into the Hoover building every day. 7,000. Tell me they all have these most important jobs and they're doing this wonderful work. Bullshit. They're looking for the next opportunity to get a promotion and retire with the big bucks, and then go out and hook up with some kind of agency, BlackRock or one of them. The CIA was formed to lie to other people and their governments and to manipulate the world. Somewhere along the line, they decided that they should lie and manipulate the American people. For me, take the CIA and I'll go along with Elon. Give everybody a year severance and tell them, thank you for your service. Go find another job. And then I'd make that housing unit, that building, into an old folks housing unit. That way they would be secure. You ever try to get on CIA property? You can't. You can't even get within 10 miles of it, let alone on the property. Sometimes I feel like I'm yelling in the wind. But today, I have gotten to the point where I'm throwing it all up and then to the wind, just to let you know, as the American people, you are being used and manipulated. Used and manipulated. And it's going on right now in Pennsylvania where they locked this kid up. You think, look at his background. You think that this kid came up with this whole plan and idea? The first assassin looked like a kid that was well trained. I mean, he snuck onto the property, got onto the roof. He was up there for a couple hours. He brought water to hydrate. When they found him, they didn't confront him. Your job was to confront him. Just because he pointed the gun at you does not give you permission to back off. That's what you get paid for. You duck down under cover, you get your weapon out, you come up shooting. You shoot every bullet in your gun in his direction. Get down, reload, and do it again. You're protecting the future president of the United States. You're telling me that the Secret Service, the state police, the local police, the sheriff's department, putting up a perimeter, and an amateur got through this and got onto a roof from 400 yards away and shot the president in the ear? By luck, he missed. Are we exactly establishing luck as a criteria for protecting our politicians? See, I look at everything with a critical eye. It's the way I was trained. You understand that? I look at things that are and could be, and I am always the contrarian because I look at exactly what has happened, or I look at what could happen. But I look at it from the aspect of not the mainstream. I pride myself on being able to pick out the small inconsistencies and give them meaning. And these three things have so many inconsistencies. It's ridiculous. This is a manipulated situation. 1, 2, 3. Is it going to be 4? I imagine there will be. But I'm putting out there for the American people today, right now, at 6:56 p.m. It's your responsibility to say enough is enough. We don't want any more of this. We don't want foreign interference. We won't interfere foreignly. I'm sorry Canada doesn't have a postal system that's not working. It's not our problem. I'm sorry that the EU has let in so many people from other religions and other countries that they've lost their identity. Fix it. Do what Poland and Germany's doing. Put a double fence around your country and push all those people out. You need to solve your problems as much as America needs to solve our problems. All right, 3 minutes left. I always love the 3-minute mark. You know why? Because that's when I can just relax, talk to Josh, pretty much tell you, time to rock on in February. We be rocking. Gonna go for a day of education. We're gonna go for a day of music. That's important. Good people doing good things. You understand that? All the people we support is these are good people doing good things. That's as simple as that. God bless each and every one of them. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, and I know from Josh's, we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tom Newetner, the conversationalist. I don't want to argue with you. I want to talk about it. I don't care what color you are or what race. If you have an opinion, state it. We can discuss anything. What you need to do right now, though, is stand up for America. If you consider yourself an American, just American, nothing else, no Italian Americans, no Polish Americans, no Black Americans, no Chinese Americans, bullshit. An American. 0101-2025. Do better. Be better. Start this country over. 4 years of Trump. After that, you can put anybody you want in because I don't care. I'll probably be gone anyway because I'm about ready to blow a vessel right now. But the most important thing is Americans should be American and America first for the next 4 years. Let's take our country back. Let's make it prosperous. Yeah. Big ding. And give us something to be proud again instead of all this strife and this manipulated broadcast TV bullshit. If these people don't want to go away peacefully and quietly, fine. Put them in jail. But change, decentralize the government. Get the bureaucracy that's really running the whole place out. I don't vote for them. And they don't make decisions for me anymore. All right. Tom Nwedner, the conversationalist. Like, subscribe, comment, share, tell the police where I live. I'll be waiting. And the guys in the shadow suits, come on over. I got a brand new bottle of Crown Royal to split with you. Tom Nwedner, the conversationalist. I'm out.